What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews. I've got 4 bets I've already got down for this upcoming 3-game slate, and I'm going to share them all with you. Now, if that sounds interesting, let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
So I shared 4 picks in that last video. We did happen to go 2 and 2. VIP, we did hit 1.47 units. Had a two straight plays. Almost hit another 5 units profit, but Fred VanVleet hooked us with an assist. He went crazy in that third quarter. But let's talk about the losers, because the losers I shared on the video, the same losers we had in VIP. Jalen Brunson, over 2.5 3-pointers made. Hooked on 2. My man was shook. Had 2 leading into the fourth. Did not attempt a 3-pointer. The Hawks, they defended that 3-point line extremely well. So much better than I expected. Before that game today, they're one of the worst teams in the league at defending the perimeter. Only 2 New York Knicks went over their 3-point made lines, and that was Karl-Anthony Towns and Josh Hart. Everybody else went under. After reviewing my reasons for taking the bet, I got to tell you, I think it was still a good read. Who was I to predict the Atlanta Hawks when I clamp up on the defensive end? They haven't done it once all year. But Alperen Sengun, that was another loser. And losing on an under feels a lot worse. Under 20.5 points. The Rockets, they changed their offense in this game. They didn't run him in the pick and roll as much. He was very aggressive. They let him play one-on-one, and he made shit happen. He destroyed Draymond Green in every single time they matched up. I thought it was a good read based on the information we had, but still a losing bet at the end of the day. So got to get better. We always trying to sweep. Unfortunately, this is gambling. Doesn't matter how good the bet is. There's still a chance that you're going to lose. So look, not all bad. We did smash a couple of winners. Jonathan Kuminga over 4.5 rebounds, finishes with 7. Mikal Bridges, 16.5 points, finishes with 19. 2 others that I shared, Jalen Johnson over 9.5 rebounds. This was plus money, finishes with 15 boards. And Fred VanVleet under 23.5 points and assists, finishes with a sweat-free 15. We also smashed on a Karl-Anthony Towns value play, 15 rebounds and 2 3-pointers made at plus 280. Quickly show you what that looks like. $50 into 190. Again, not the biggest win to celebrate, but had we hit Fred VanVleet, we had all that in a parlay, man, we would have been laughing. But no laughing today. Hopefully, on this upcoming set, we get to laugh together. Now, pretty good reads overall, despite a couple of losers. I'm not disappointed in that. Now, my VIP, if you want to trial it, Rebet's the place to do it. Make a $10 deposit. Send me an email of a screenshot. I'll give you a month of my VIP picks for free. You can trial it out, see if it works for you. You'll also get entry into a giveaway. I'm giving away $500 US. So $100 to 5 different people once we hit 100 referrals. We're on about 53 at the moment, so I encourage you guys to check it out, especially those who are stuck betting on DFS apps. On those DFS apps, you can't bet money lines, totals, and spreads. If rebets available in your location, now you can. So go ahead and check it out. The link for that's in the video description below. And if you don't use the link, just use the code DAFT when you sign up. Take a screenshot, send it to me, and I'll get you into the VIP. Now, enough of that. Let's talk about these 4 bets, shall we? Let's go. So we're jumping into props madness. This is the #1 player prop tool. If you're serious about making money on the NBA, all your favorite cappers are using it, I assure you. If you're interested in checking this tool out, though, 7-day free trial. Plus, you get a 25% discount when you use the code DAFT when you sign up. So go ahead and check it out. I've also got a YouTube video on how to use this tool for beginners. Go ahead and check it out. Play around with it. If you don't like it, no loss to you. But I promise you, you probably will. All right, let's talk about these bets, shall we? Now, we've got a 3-game slate here. It's a little bit better than a 2-game slate, but 3 games doesn't necessarily bring the boys to the yard. But I've got 4 bets I've already got down. I'll probably end up getting a few more. There's a couple of leans that I have, but let's talk about what I have at the moment. We'll go into the Raptors versus the Heat game. Big news out of this one, no Scotty Barnes. So 12-point spread, I think, to Miami. Jimmy Butler's a game-time decision, but he may play. But the bet we're going with today is Bam Adebayo. Now, I really love his assist prop, especially at 4.5. There's still some 4.5s available. The odds for it aren't fantastic, though. Not something I want to play. And the 5.5, it's okay. Don't necessarily love it, but 4.5, that was a sweet spot. So if you can catch a 4.5 and you get decent odds for it, then I think that's a good look. But for me, I'm going with Bam Adebayo. Rebounds and assists. We're looking at over 15.5. Now, he's been a beast as of late. He's crushed this in 6 out of his last 7 games. He's averaging 19.4 rebounds and assists over his last 7 games. In that span of 7 games, he's played the Raptors twice. And in those games, he had 20 rebounds and assists and 27 rebounds and assists. I also did a bit of a dive into his matchups with Jakob Poeltl. He's actually covered this line in 4 consecutive games against Jakob Poeltl. So I do like that. Bam's been in a bit of a mood as of late, and he's just been diamond up. Just if you look at his assists alone, as of late, it's up, and its potential assists are up. It's all happening. Looks like they're creating their offense around him a little bit more, so I do like that. Another great look on his assists, though. Similar types of centers. They've been crushing their assists. Karl Anthony Towns, Bam himself, Evan Mobley, Anthony Davis. All of these guys have been getting a lot of dimes on the Toronto Raptors, and that's because they tend to collapse. As soon as that ball gets into that mid to high post, they're centered bodies over there. So Bam just has to make the right read, get the passes out, and he can cash out. If you just want to look specifically at his boards, lines at 10.5. I don't love that as much. 10 is the number. 9.5, I'll take that for sure. 10, let's go. That's why we're looking to add the rebounds plus assists here. I wouldn't take this at 16.5. 15.5 is as far as I would go. He's been rebounding okay. He had 10 rebounds in one game against the Raptors, 20 rebounds in the following. So I think we've got a nice edge here if we're looking at his rebounds and assists. I do have to be transparent with you guys. There is a little bit of risk in this one. And the risk in this game is a blowout. So we've got a 10.5 point spread now. But if the Miami Heat happen to blow out this Raptors team, if their offense is terrible without Scotty Barnes and there is a blowout, then it might be difficult for Bam to get these rebounds and assists. The way that I project it, he probably needs to play 30 to actually a lot more, probably about 35 minutes at least to keep this number. That's what I'd like to see. But if there's a blowout, there's potential for him to only play about 30 and he could fall short. So that's the risk with this bet. But with every bet that you take, there is going to be a risk. You just have to be aware of that. Let's jump into the next bet. It's in the next game, the Detroit Pistons versus the Boston Celtics. Now, I've got two bets in this game that I like. The first one, taking Jaylen Brown here. Managed to spot this one nice and early, and it was around his assists. I got him at 3.5 assists, which I absolutely love to death. I don't know what the odds makers were thinking. Then I sent it out to VIP. How long ago was that? That was probably about 6 to 7 hours ago. But Jaylen Brown, line's now moved to 4.5, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky because I would still take it at 4.5, but only given some certain circumstances if they were to occur. So the one thing about this game is Jason Tatum is a game time decision. He may or may not play. So Jason Tatum, he's dealing with a right patella injury. He's been on the injury report for the past week, so his knee's kind of been inflamed, and he's at risk of missing his second contest. Now, the Boston Celtics, they are 12.5 point favorites in this game, so there's probably no real need to have Jason Tatum play this game. I think they can get the win without him, but who knows with these players and whether they're going to play or not. These injury reports have been crazy as of late, but Jaylen Brown, I got him at 3.5. I'd take that whether Jason Tatum is playing or not. Now, the line that you're probably looking at is at 4.5, and I would only be taking that if we know Jason Tatum's not going to play. The good thing here is it's a plus money look here at 4.5. Well, it should be anyway. If you bet on a book like Bet365, for example, that's got great cash out odds, you can take Jaylen Brown for over 4.5 assists, and then if Jason Tatum's confirmed in, then you can cash it out, get all your money back. But yeah, I'd wait until Jason Tatum's status is confirmed before taking this bet, though, if you don't have a book that does that. But Jaylen Brown has improved in his passing so far this season. In 19 games, he's averaging 4.6 rebounds. Lines at 4.5. He can definitely get 5. I'm not saying that he can't do it. I just love this look a lot more if Jason Tatum's not there. Now, he's played the Detroit Pistons twice this season. He had 5 and 9 assists in those games. So 2 from 2. The first game, no Porzingis. Jason Tatum was in that, and he finished at 5. That's why I'm saying if there's no Jason Tatum, I love this a lot more because in the following game against Detroit, without Jason Tatum, he had 17 potential assists and 9 assists. So absolutely ate the assists alive without Jason Tatum. That's his only game he's played this season without JT, and it just happens to be against the same team. So up against Detroit again, like I said, love it to death if there's no Tatum there. With Tatum in the lineup, I think that line is exactly where it needs to be. He'll probably finish on 4 or 5, which is why I love the 3.5 that I took earlier. So Jaylen Brown, I think it's a nice look, but that Tatum news is going to be very important. The next bet I have in this game is on Cade Cunningham. This is, it's not just one of my favorites. I think it's going to be a popular bet on the day. We're looking at over 22.5 points for Cade Cunningham. Now, I'm not betting this just because his recent form is nice. It does make it a lot easier. 6 consecutive games, he's gone over this points line of 22.5. That also includes a game against the Boston Celtics where he scored 27 points, 21 shots, 3 from 9. So he didn't shoot the ball amazingly well. Pretty decent, managed to score 27 points in 34 minutes. Now, when I was diving a little bit deeper into this, well, being honest with you, I didn't dive too deep because I already knew this because I bet Jason Tatum against the Knicks. But Cade Cunningham against the Knicks. Now, looking at his last 6 games here for Cade Cunningham, what I noticed a while ago when I bet this on the Knicks game is that all these games where he was green in as of late, all of them came in great matchups for him. So it's not like he's just playing well. He's had a pretty soft matchup in every single game. All of these teams, they don't know how to defend that pick and roll, or they allow a lot of points to it. And Cade Cunningham took advantage of that. He does score 38% of his points in that pick and roll. And he's up against the Boston Celtics, who allow the third most points in the pick and roll in the NBA. And it's not because the Boston Celtics are bad at defense. It's all by design. The Boston Celtics don't help off shooters. They let players like Cade Cunningham play one-on-one with their elite perimeter defenders, whether it be Derek White, a Drew Holiday, or a Jaylen Brown. They're just going to let Cade Cunningham go one-on-one and shut down everybody else. So Cade Cunningham should see a lot of volume in this game, should be able to cover this line because he's done it before. The main risk in this Cade Cunningham game is another blowout, right? The spread's at 12.5. If Tatum plays and he's on fire and the Celtics kill him, it's gonna harm his opportunities. And this happened in October, 27th of October, played the Boston Celtics. Actually, that was only a 6-point loss. He played 41 minutes in that game, scored 21 points. He just shot poorly, 41% from the field, 25% from three. That particular game, there was no Porzingis. So what I'm saying here is Porzingis is playing, and there's a chance Tatum plays as well. Boston at full strength. If they blow them out, he's not going to see the minutes and opportunities. And that's the main risk, I think, with this one. He's coming into this game in great form. Even in games where he hasn't really shot the ball well, the volume's been high enough to make up for that. So Cade Cunningham, I do like he's over in points. I think a popular look you're going to see here is over in his rebounds and assists. And it's because the hit rate on it's been amazing. Check that out. Since the 5th of November, he's gone over his rebounds and assists in every single game except the game against the Milwaukee Bucks. His last game against Boston, he finished with 9 rebounds and 14 assists. So he managed to go over there. Another angle you could look at, you can look at any Cade Cunningham play, really. A PRA looks nice. His board's not too bad. His assists look nice. I'm going with the points because I know the matchup's good. His matchup's actually not great for rebounds and assists, but if you're just betting on hit rates, rebounds and assists is the way to go. I'm personally going for the points, but I'll leave it up to you guys. I think they're all good looks. Cade Cunningham should see a ton of time, ton of opportunities. Jumping into my very last bet, we've got the Kings versus the Pelicans. And I've got a few looks that I like in this, but I've only got one bet down. So that's all I'll share with you. Looking at my man Malik Monk. Going back to the Monk, looking at his points plus assists today. Now, with Malik Monk, he broke our hearts not too long ago. Absolutely shattered it into pieces. And that's because I bet on him to go over, maybe it was his points, or just his assists, actually, against the Utah Jazz. And that was a bad bet when I took him against Utah Jazz because after all my research, I forgot to factor in that there's a blowout potential in that game. The Kings won that game by 44 points. Malik Monk only saw the court for 27 minutes, scores 16 points, gets 3 assists. My bet does not cash. And that was my favorite bet on the day. And it was the favorite bet for a lot of other people. And it didn't happen for us. So I'm not going to make that mistake again. This Pelicans team, pretty much better now. They've got everyone except for Zion. The spread's only 6 points. So I don't see a blowout here. Game should be close. Malik Monk should see a lot of minutes. Now, Malik Monk entered the starting lineup on the 28th of November. And since then, playing a ton of minutes, seeing a lot of opportunities, been crushing his lines. If anything, a lot of his lines have been disrespectful. Points lines at 17.5. He's cashed that in 5 out of the 7 games. His assist lines at 4.5. He's covered that in 6 out of the 7 games. His rebounds line is at 3.5, and that's pretty inconsistent, which is why I'm looking at points plus assists. He's cashed this in 6 out of the 7 games. He's going to be a vital point on their offense. Now, another thing I like about this Malik Monk play, this Pelicans team does have a few pretty good perimeter defenders. They've got DeJounte Murray, who's above average. He may see the De'Aaron Fox lineup. They also have Herb Jones, who's an absolute beast, and I could see him picking up a DeMar DeRozan to look to limit his effectiveness. That leaves Malik Monk and CJ McCollum together, and CJ McCollum's the weakest perimeter defender they're going to have. I think Malik Monk can take advantage of that matchup, whether he's beating him, getting dimes, finding himself open for shots, whatever it may be. Scoring the ball, I do like Malik Monk in this game. So Malik Monk can score in a plethora of ways. The one that I like the most is he's going to get out and run in transition, and he's going to make him pay as a spot-up shooter. So Malik Monk, I do like his points. His assist line, the hit rate on that is fantastic. He's a vital point in their offense. Could be a game where De'Aaron Fox gets a lot of assists, but I think Malik Monk's going to chip in as well. Provided he plays more than 30 minutes, I'm feeling good about this bet. The only reason he doesn't play 30 minutes is if there's an unexpected blowout here or an injury. Both of those things I hope does not happen. But I do like Malik Monk over his points plus assists in this game. I got it at 22.5. There is a 21.5 available in DraftKings, Fliff, and Caesars. None of those books I've got access to. So I settled for a 22.5 at some pretty decent odds. But yeah, that's the 4 bets that I got for y'all. Don't you dare go anywhere because we are not done yet. You know what I do? Try to give you as much value as I possibly can. How do you feel about checking out some hit rates? Because I hope you do, because that's going to take you through next. But before we go through the best hit rates in these games and talk about whether I think you should take it or not, I do ask you to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and help me work this algorithm and drop some comments down below. Any comments that you leave helps this algorithm push this video out to more people, and I wanted to get this out to more people because trying to hit 20,000 subscribers before Christmas, that would be a great Christmas gift if we manage to make that happen. So I ask that you subscribe to the channel. We're dropping heat like this every single day. So before we get into the hit rates, how about we play that favorite song of yours one more time?
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
All right, we're talking hit rates, baby, and we're going to go through the Raptors versus the Heat game to talk about who's been hitting what over the last 5 games and does it continue to happen. The first one I want to talk through is RJ Barrett. Where's my man RJ? And RJ Barrett, his points line's already started to move, which is crazy. It's his assist line. 5.5 assists. He's under this in 5 consecutive games now. That includes 1 game against the Miami Heat where he finished on 5 from 11 potentials. I think the biggest call out here, Scotty Barnes. Not in the lineup anymore. Might see more opportunities here, RJ Barrett. So we can compare his numbers with and without Scotty. With Scotty Barnes, he averaged 4.8 assists in 11 games. Hit this line only 3 times. Without Scotty Barnes this season, 11 games, averaging 6.8 assists, covering this line in 6 out of 11. So I think the line at 5.5 honestly feels just about right. Does he go over or under? That I can't tell you. But I probably lean to the over here because he's played the Miami Heat twice already this season. Had 7 and 5 assists, and Scotty Barnes was in both of those games. You can only assume he would have had an extra 1 or 2 assists with Scotty Barnes out of that lineup. So I'd probably lean to the over there for RJ Barrett to buck the trend of going under in his assist prop. Another one is Davion Mitchell. Now, his assist line is at 6.5, and he's gone under this a lot of games this season, but he's obviously going to see the biggest spike in his minutes with no Scotty Barnes there. He'll be playing the point. Not available in many books at the moment, but they will eventually, and I think that could be a good look here. So if we did the same thing, we look at games with Scotty Barnes. He was under in 12 out of 14 games, averaging 4.1 assists. If we take Scotty Barnes out of the equation, he played 11 games. He only went over this 4 times, but he did average 6.2 assists. Now, this Miami Heat team, bottom 10 in terms of assists allowed. So they do allow some assists here. The 6.5, though, for Davion Mitchell, I don't know if I could get there. I think it's still a little bit too high. But maybe 1 assist too high. At 5.5, I could probably take it over there. But at 6.5, I think under's the way. I don't love it enough to bet it, though. But I did tell you, I'd tell you my opinion, telling you guys what I think. So Davion Mitchell to go under 6.5 assists, the way that I'd be leaning. Outside of that, no other amazing hit rates in that one. We then had the Pistics, not the Pistics, the Pistons versus the Celtics, the game of the Pistics. And there's only one player with a 100% hit rate over the last 5 games, and that's actually Cade Cunningham. We've already spoken through that. But you might want to talk about the hit rates against their opposition. And if Jason Tatum done his work against the Detroit Pistons this season, played them once, 37 points in that game. Wonder what he did last season in head-to-head matchups, 31 points against them that game prior. So a lot of volume. But keeping in mind, the game last year, there was no Jaylen Brown in the lineup. So 31 points for him without Jaylen Brown, not overly impressive. The 37 points this season without Kristaps Porzingis, I think that's still a pretty good look. So he's done his work. His matchup's not difficult. If Tatum plays, yeah, I'd lean to the over on his points for sure. But it doesn't stop there. Jaylen Brown, he's had some success against the Pistons this season. 2 games against them, 24 and 28 points. 1 game without Porzingis, scores 24. Then a game without Jason Tatum scores 28. If we look at last season's games against Detroit Pistons, 31 and 33 points for Jaylen Brown. So we're talking about 4 consecutive games now. Jaylen Brown's gone over this 23.5 points. And I got to tell you, I probably lean to the over here as well. I can't deny the data. I think it might be close if Tatum plays, but it might be worth taking now. And if there's a chance Tatum doesn't play, this might be a sweat-free cash. Now, another look, if we're talking about hit rates, we're looking at Derek White over his points and assists against this team. Firstly, he's cashed this points and assist line of 19.5 in 19 out of 23 games. Absolutely crazy. Against the Detroit Pistons, 20 and then 25. But again, a game without Porzingis, a game without Tatum. If we look at last season, 3 games against the Detroit Pistons, 28, 32, and 30. Derek White got busy against them. So that's 5 consecutive games. Derek White has covered this points plus assist prop against the Detroit Pistons. What's important to add in here is you want to get the games with Tatum, with Brown, with Porzingis, with Drew Holiday. How many examples of that? There were no examples of that last season, no examples of that this season. So I think the line's probably about right. The hit rate on this is amazing, but that's because one of these guys are always missing. Now, if Jason Tatum doesn't play, then I think a Derek White look is a great opportunity. But until then, probably best to wait. Another look, if we're just looking at head-to-head stuff, I think Cade Cunningham rebounds, my memory serves me correct, has a good hit rate. But you got to get it at 5.5, and that's not available anymore. So scratch that. No Cade Cunningham stuff. All right, let's get to the last game. It's the Kings versus the Pelicans. And is there something in here that could spark my interest? Let's talk about it. Over the last 5 games, we've got an under for Jeremiah Robinson Earl. Looking at his PRA. Now, he's gone under this line in 6 consecutive games now. His line's at 11.5, though. He's hit 11 3 times. He's up against the Kings, and he does have a pretty decent matchup to score some points here. The Kings bottom last in the league, and worst in the league in terms of points allowed to spot up shooters, which is where Jeremiah Robinson Earl scores the majority of his points. So the matchup's not fantastic. Did have a stretch here in his PRA where he's gone off in November. That was when there was no Zion, no Ingram, no Trey Murphy. A lot of those guys are back. So everyone but Zion is back. And we've seen a big drop-off in his minutes and his production. So I think the line's probably just about right for Jeremiah Earl. So I'm not interested in playing around with that. We do have a De'Aaron Fox fade if anyone's down for that. You could look at under in his points. He's gone under that in 6 consecutive games now, 24.5. I think DeMar DeRozan came back from his injury, and then everything slowed down for De'Aaron Fox. Now, the matchup today, somewhat difficult for him to score some points. The Pelicans, top 9 in terms of points allowed to pick and roll ball handlers. He likes to score in the paint in the non-restricted area. This Pelicans team does a great job of limiting points there. Second fewest points. They aren't great on transition, though. So if the Kings play with a lot of pace and De'Aaron Fox gets out, he'll be able to get some buckets here. But I think De'Aaron Fox probably goes under. He probably scores between 20 and 24.5 points, which he has done in 5 out of his last 6 games. No head-to-head matchups they've had this season yet. So can't really rely on any of that data. But one thing we can look at is if we just look at the games with DeMar DeRozan, Sabonis, and Malik Monk in the lineup, and we can see here that De'Aaron Fox has only covered this line in 4 out of 16 games, averaging 22.6 points per game. We also factor in that the matchup is somewhat difficult. If we just look at the teams that aren't in the bottom 10 in terms of how they defend pick and roll ball handlers, doesn't necessarily get better or worse. 3 out of 10. I wonder what these teams that he scored against have in common. It's probably defensive rating for at least 2 of them. So defensive rating, the Pels, actually they are a bottom defensive rating team this season overall. So playing around with those filters probably aren't going to help us too much. But yeah, if we just take a look at the games with DeRozan, Sabonis, and Monk, under in 12 out of 16 games. So it's pretty crazy, De'Aaron Fox. Next, let's take a look at some head-to-head form. One that stands out is DeMar DeRozan. And we're actually looking at his assists today. Line at 3.5. Now, he's only hit this in 10 out of 20 games this season, but in his head-to-head matchups last season, had a bit of success passing the ball. 2 games against the Pels, check that out, 10 and 7 assists, which is just crazy. Problem here is that was last year, playing for the Chicago Bulls, different role, much higher usage rate. So I don't think I can get with that, but that's really interesting. Right? I'm going to tell you, that's an interesting look there for DeMar DeRozan. I don't know if I'm game enough to take it. Another is an under on DeJounte Murray, looking at his assists, 7.5. But again, we're looking at last year's data in head-to-head matchups, 3 and 6 assists, playing for Atlanta. One of those games was without Trae Young, though. He only finished with 6 assists in that game. I wonder if he scored a lot of points. He scored 35. Okay. I don't see him scoring 35 points today. I think 7.5 assists is probably just about right. This Pelicans team does give up a lot of assists, though. So I wouldn't be keen on playing any unders there on DeJounte Murray. And another one is for Kevin Huerter, Red Velvet. Looking at his three-pointers made prop in head-to-head matches, but we do have to go to last season. And last season, covered this in 4 straight games against the Pelicans, scoring 2 3-pointers in all of them. The odds for that, about -130. So not the best. I think the odds are fair for that, for him to make 2 3-pointers. This season, how's he going against this number? He's only hit it in 10 out of 22 games. If anything, he's more likely to hit 4 3-pointers. If he's going to cash 2, he's likely to cash 4. So the matchup here is pretty good for 3-point shooters, though. This Pelicans team, bottom 5 in terms of 3-point attempts allowed, bottom 9 in defending above the break. They've got a bad defensive rating. It's not a bad look here for Kevin Huerter. Is he going to get the minutes? Is he going to get the shots? That's what I'm thinking. But, man, if Kevin Huerter nails 4 3-pointers today, I'm going to kick on myself if I don't take this bet. But we'll see. We'll see. I've got to dive back into the lab, see if I can find some more value. But on face value, I don't think that's such a bad bet. But they're all the bets that I have for you today, gang. 4 bets down at the moment. I'm sure there's more to come because that's just what I do. For those of you in VIP, you get an email or a text once those picks are ready. You'll get it. My value plays are coming. I'm going to cook that straight after this. I'm going to edit this video and get it out to you. But if you're interested in checking out VIP, download Rebet, $10 deposit, email me a screenshot, access to VIP, and you jump into that draw for $100 US. But on top of that, you can just sign up to any of my partners. Same agreement goes. I just don't have a giveaway for it. You can sign up to them, whatever's available in your location, make a deposit, send me an email, and I'll get you guys a VIP trial. Don't worry about that. But best of luck to you all. I hope our slips are green out today. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.